The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set.
Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. I got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
What's happening with you, bro?
Not much, man. Not much. Watching Zach Wilson out this thing looking like I don't even know what to say.
I can't say nothing. The Saints got torched by Jada Pinkett Smith today.
I read when you posted that, and no comment. When I saw it, I was like, oh. Chris Rock would be very proud of you in that joke. I'll just say that. But man, Zach Wilson out here got like super cougar powers, man. He out here like, diving from the 5. He didn't get in. He stepped out of bounds, but he got the thing moving, man. Every time I see Zach Wilson, though, I think about when they was all taking a picture at the draft, and they was like throwing up the, you know what I'm saying, and he had that look like, you know what I'm saying, he thought like it was gang sign. Breeze Hall, run them over. But yeah, man. Hey, what a freaking weekend for college football, man. What a weekend. I can't wait for tomorrow. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I do want to say that we are to everybody who's watching. I want to say thank y'all for tuning in. We truly appreciate y'all. Putting it at the bottom, our super chat and stuff. And I need y'all to do me a favor, you know what I'm saying, send some super chats for a reason. I need y'all to send super chats. We're gonna get us a city permit. We're gonna get a table and set up in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, and ain't gonna read fortunes, because obviously this man is a fortune teller when it comes to some football. He has predicted some things that have come true, and very, very, just like, I'm just gonna ask, man, where do you hide the book, the sports almanac from the Back to the Future? Because you be calling it.
Oh no, man! I just had a feeling, bro.
Yeah, so
wish I would have put some money on it, but
big facts. I wish I would have put some money on Auburn, because I sat there like Saturday. I was looking at some of the games, or it may have been Friday, and I was like, Auburn versus Arkansas, Auburn plus money. Like that seemed like a good one. I should go definitely. I should definitely put some money on Auburn, but I didn't, and lo and behold, speaking of putting money on things, we're gonna get into it though. We're gonna talk about some stuff. Obviously, U-Haul is making a strong comeback in the stock markets or something. Their stock is definitely up. This old vet, what's good?
What's up, man?
I hope we're doing well. We are. Happy belated Veterans Day to you.
Definitely.
Yep. So I also got a complaint. We're going to get to it, though. Man, let's go ahead and get into the show, man. Y'all know what we got to do first, though. Got to give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag, we will be back in 1 minute.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Hey, and we're back. Man, you know what game we got to start with. We got to talk about this phenomenal performance by none other than that kid, Jayden, JD5. What a game. What a game. Let me pull up the... Go ahead.
Video game, bro. That's all. Only time you ever seen a performance like that is on a video game.
It's funny. My stepdad is a huge Alabama fan. And so when I was leaving, because I went down to Mobile this weekend. I went through Mobile, saw my folks. And the first thing he said to me, well, the last thing we were leaving out, he was like, hey, there's one more seat left on the Bama bandwagon. I said, are you sure it's just one? I need you to get me two so I could throw both of them away together. And he was like, he just started laughing. He was like, man, Milroe. He was talking about Milroe. And I was like, yeah, Milroe look good. You know, I was like, but Jayden is finna win the Heisman. And he was like, nah. And I was like, and I started telling him like what Jayden did. He was like, but who did they play? And I said, they played Florida. He said, but Bama played Kentucky. I was like, are you serious? And it made me realize when people only want to watch one team, a lot of times, you know, they may watch football, but when they only really pay attention to one team, it really does skew the bias big time. It makes you it's like eating Chinese food or something for the first time and just being wild. You know what I'm saying? When all you ate was hamburgers or something. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Is when you finally eat a steak that's medium when all you've been eating is well done. You're like, man, this is actually pretty good. I should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah.
What Jayden did yesterday was absolutely, the announcers were stunned because they were talking about, I said, well, he's approaching numbers like, you know, that we've only seen in the SEC once before, and that's Johnny Manziel. And then when he passed it, they were like, we've never seen this before. For those of you who don't know those numbers, Jayden was 17 of 26 for 372 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Then he added 12 carries for 234 yards on the ground and 2 more touchdowns. Nobody has ever run for more than 350. Run for more than 220 and thrown for 350 in any FBS game ever. So if I'm not mistaken, he also he did it a little bit different way. Has the most total yards in an SEC game ever. It was KJ Costello for that performance he put up against LSU in 2020, but I think he broke that too because he had 606 total. I can't remember what Costello had. I want to say it was like 5 something. So, but man, your thoughts on the game?
If I'm not mistaken, Florida came into that game as like a top 50 defense in the country. what Jayden did to them last night looked like a varsity quarterback playing against a freshman team. It just looked like he was on a different level the whole night. I mean, he missed some throws early on, and you could chalk that up to not practicing all week, not and having to get his timing and stuff down. But
Yeah.
seemed like once he settled in, that 85-yard run kind of settled him down and got him into the flow of the game. And after that, he was on a different level. It really looked like he was playing in slow motion out there. Like the game was so slowed down to him that he was basically seeing the play ahead. That the first touchdown run was amazing. He just hit the corner, turned the burners on. But that second touchdown run, he was pretty much just toying with him, bro. And to me, that's the epitome of his performance last night. It was that run because it was just so smooth. He didn't really get touched, and he was really just toying with him at the end. And that's how he played all night. He was smooth, big explosive plays, and he was just out there just toying with the defense, bro. Whatever he wanted to do, he was able to do.
Yeah. What's good, Taraj? Big country in the building. Miss Danny, what's good, Danny girl? And of course our good man Paul's Hub. Big country say JD5 for Heisman. I don't think there's any doubt. Well, you have to fight with West Coast voters because Michael Penix is still a name that they're going to probably cling to.
But I think the West Coast voters are going to be split between Penix and Bo Nix.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Danny girl, it's funny. She said, "I'm late and came into an intellectual pool bear. Did you have to get glasses to make sure you were seeing what you thought you were seeing by JD5? What a show!" Yes, I actually shout out to the local referees in this area. They recommended these glasses to me. They said that they gave me theirs because obviously they don't use them. But no, in all seriousness, it was Danny is somebody who was I'm gonna say critical of Jayden, but it was fair. It was things she wanted to see. And she was one of the first people come out and say, "Hey, I see it now. He's that dude." You know what I'm saying? And when other people were like, blaming him for Florida State loss or blaming him for, other games. And she was a person who's like, hey, if you look at the stats, it's not him. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Danny for being mature about that and, being able to admit she's wrong because a lot of our fans haven't been able to do that. Appreciate that. I will say, again, what we saw last night. I don't you described it, video game. What else can you say? Paul's Hub. Jayden made all of Raymond's DBs look like Eli Apples. So, hey, can we talk about Corey Raymond for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I know, Tony posted earlier talking about and he kind of said in a joking manner, talking about Corey Raymond, asking do people still want Corey Raymond, and it became a debate because it's always been a debate about, Corey Raymond, DBU, and all this kind of stuff. I want to be. I was probably one of the first people when they announced which coaches when Coach Kelly got here and they announced which coaches were staying. Which coach was staying.
Yeah.
I was one of the first one. I was thinking you got to keep Corey Raymond, just simply for what he means. And I was thinking Corey Raymond and Mickey Joseph because of what they meant for LSU. When you look at it, the last few years, Corey Raymond's the secondary under his regime has given up a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. Some of it was due to injury. Some of it was due to technique. Some of it was due to the scheme called by the various defense coordinators. With that said, you know, it's easy to kind of look at that and kind of blame Corey Raymond and point the finger and stuff like that. But then when you start looking at what did he bring in talent wise, and you start noticing that we were missing on a lot of out of state kids or anybody who did not have a Louisiana/LSU tie. We were missing. The only one I can think of that we got was Eli Ricks, and that was a Coach O tie from a camp. Um, then you look at when he gets to Florida, and last year it's their first year under him. I can't necessarily blame him because of what he's just getting there. But if you look this year, and Florida fans said it, they are not, even the older guys, the veteran guys aren't, they're regressing.
Yeah, and then the recruiting ain't been going too well lately neither. So
DK right on time. They just lost Wardell Mack.
yeah, he just flipped to Texas. So
yeah,
it's been rough for Raymond so far down in Florida, and Florida fans aren't too happy with him right now. So
right.
I don't really think that was anything we really lost in that move by him going to Florida. I just really wish that LSU fans would get over the fact that he's at Florida and he probably not coming back, so we can kind of quit with that whole go get Corey Raymond. Every time we have something to say about our defense, everybody wants to bring up Corey Raymond. So I feel like we need to let that ship sail.
I do want to point, I want to say something else about Corey Raymond and tie it into what we see now, because a lot of people have pointed to Steeples and Cooks. You know, hey, let's fire Steeples, let's fire Cooks, and, you know, hey, the DBs. One reason why we're in the situation we're in is because of what we were left due to Corey Raymond.
Yeah.
Writing should have been on the wall when Dave Aranda pointed out to Coach O that there's some issues with Corey Raymond. That's why they brought in a safety coach. Writing was on the wall.
That was Aranda not being happy with the way the DBs were being coached. So, yeah.
So the writing was on the wall. Last year, DB play was a lot better, but we had to go out and get veteran after veteran after veteran.
You had to go do it again this year.
You had to do it again this year because you're still, some of the guys you just got are they're young.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at those young guys, Toviano, Jeremiah Hughes. You can start saying LaTerrence Welsh, he was still, I think he was still a Raymond guy, but, you know, saying he's now under you know, Steeples, and you start looking at how some of them are getting better throughout the, or how some of them are performing. These young guys, Stamps. So I'm just saying, some of that blame we're passing on to our current coaches. We got to remember we're still 2 years removed from that, and yeah. Arthur Coco says Florida State trying to get Bates.
He visited there, so I'm sure they are.
Yeah, pretty sure.
But man, let's talk about Jayden Daniels, bro.
Let's go back to it. Let's talk about him.
So I got a few stats I want to read to you.
Let's go.
All right, so do you know who leads the country? What team leads the country in explosive plays?
LSU.
Yeah, that would be correct with 87 plays.
Yeah.
Explosive plays.
That's 20 plus yard. The definition of explosive is anything over 20 yards.
Yeah, you know who's number 2?
Who?
Jayden Daniels.
Oh wow, by himself.
Jayden Daniels by himself has 76 explosive plays, or is responsible for 76 explosive plays. That would be tied with USC for second most. That's more than Washington. It's more than Ole Miss. More all these explosive offenses you think of. He
Yeah.
has more explosive plays than they do. All right. Jayden Daniels leads the nation in total offense by 57 yards per game. 57 yards per game. He's
Wow.
408.2 yards per game. That is more than 80 teams.
Wow. Wow. And can
He's
we
he's accounted for 38 touchdowns, which is more than 81 teams have scored so far this season.
wow. We gotta get this typed up. We sending this to New York. We gotta get this printed up, put it, you know what I'm saying? This will be in the tweet so we can all see later. That's wild to think as just that he has been a part of that much production this year on a team that did you see the stat about comparing 2019 Chase and
Yeah.
Jefferson to Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors?
Mhm.
Same amount of catches, 111 through 9 games, 111. But Neighbors and Thomas have, I think, 200 more yards and like 3 or 4 more touchdowns, receiving touchdowns.
Let me ask you this. I asked this in Twitter space last night.
Yep.
The most impressive performance you saw from LSU quarterback, was it last night or was it Joe Burrow versus Oklahoma?
Ooh. What did he throw versus Oklahoma?
7 touchdowns.
7 touchdowns. I'm talking about yards wise. I can't
Yardage
remember.
wise, I don't remember. I just remember 7 touchdowns.
God. I'm gonna actually say the most impressive performance that I saw from Jayden. I mean not Jayden, I'm sorry, from Joe Burrow.
493 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, and especially on the stage it was on. I think the most impressive game I saw from Joe, and it stats numbers wise, it may not necessarily be up there as far as number, was when he played Vandy in 2019.
Yeah.
That game was up there for me. But just thinking about, oh God, at least 7.
Oh, we had to put that out on the poll.
Yeah, we definitely have to put that on poll. That was wow.
The first player in FBS history with 350 yards passing, 200 yards rushing.
That's wow. That man had 606 total yards by himself.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. Not many people I mean, they've talked about it because they've seen the video. Big shout out to Josh Williams, man.
Oh yeah.
Huge shout out to Josh Williams.
Not just
unsung
him,
hero.
but Malik, BTJ.
Oh yeah.
The way they blocked on all those touchdown runs and them long runs and stuff, bro. Just unselfish, man. The whole entire offense is unselfish.
Malik and I don't want to harp on last year too much. Malik and Josh Williams, those are the two guys who had the blocks that and Mason Taylor had the blocks that won you the game against Bama last year on that overtime run to even score before the 2-point conversion. Josh Williams had a huge block then as well. So, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta, this team, this offense, the way they've gelled, just masterful. Masterful, man. Wow, I'm still tripping. You see, he by himself has 77
76
explosive plays. 76 explosive plays.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But my thing is, and I think people starting to realize it now, like, he's a Heisman, bro.
More than Heisman.
When you look at what he's doing and the way he's playing, there's nobody doing it to the level he's doing it at. Nobody.
Agreed.
Like, you compare, people want to bring up Penix Okay, cool. Jayden Daniels don't have a game this season where he hadn't scored a touchdown. Point blank period. You can bring up the record all you want, but Jayden doesn't have a game where he hasn't scored a touchdown.
in
If I'm
some
not
form. Yeah,
mistaken, Penix got 2 of them this season.
yeah, yeah. And two matter of fact, Penix has 2 games where you can look at it and say, he pretty much cost them the game, or almost cost them the game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Arizona game.
Both the Arizona teams.
Yeah.
Arizona State especially though. Every game that LSU has lost, you can look at it and say Jayden gave them a chance to win.
The defense lost every game they.
Yeah, and I hate to harp on and my man Jermaine Green in here. If we had Tulane defense, we'd be undefeated. And as funny as that sounds, it's very true. I was just so happened to be at a Tulane game yesterday, and I watched like them that secondary balled out big
Speaking
time.
of defense, LSU defense is now ranked 106 in the country.
Out of 140, what? 146?
Out of 130.
130. Quick question. Did that go up or down?
I actually think it got better from yesterday.
Yeah, got better. That's funny.
I think it did. I don't remember what they were before the game, but 106.
Yeah.
That's
freaking wild. I'm gonna ask you this. Somebody else asked. Tony asked this question too. I'm gonna ask this. What do you think about Toviano's performance? I got to go back and watch. So
I think he missed a couple plays. Missed a couple tackles. Got pushed inside on a couple plays and didn't hold down, contain. But oh, she said she heard 120. That's what I thought. I thought it was like 110 or something like that.
Okay.
But I think he made a few freshman mistakes, but I think him and the entire secondary played well. And part of that is based off who you played. They didn't get tested downfield much because Florida runs that crazy sideline to sideline passing game where they do a lot of screens and things of that nature in their passing attack. But I think him and the whole secondary played pretty well.
I also want to say this. What I thought of Graham Mertz coming to Florida preseason, Graham Mertz has been damn good this year. He's been, especially going like what I've seen out of him. He reminded me of Trask.
Yeah,
Trask got like when you saw him, it's like you thought one thing about it, but Trask was a lot better than once we saying. Because why is this guy's been in everywhere he's been has been a backup, and then you see him play like but he's actually really good. He could have been a starter. He was just behind really good quarterback. So, well, except at Florida at first, I think he was blind Felipe Franks, which terrible decision.
Yeah,
I don't know that one. I think he's a tight end now. I don't know. But anyway, let me ask this, because we talked about Jayden and we talked about Heisman. Let's talk about post LSU. How do you think this has affected his stock? I think previously he was thought about to be like a day two, early day two or late day, day or a day two guy. I put it like that. What do you think? How has this affected his stock?
I think he's a first round pick. I think he's leapfrog people like JJ McCarthy.
Who was also a Heisman contender and threw for 98 yards.
98. He didn't have that many yards.
Oh, I thought he threw for 98 yesterday.
Like 80 yards.
80. Okay. All right. Y'all have a seat. All right. Go ahead.
He handed the ball off 36 straight times. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. But
Danny, please don't say that. Please.
I agree, bro. I agree.
She said 31 to Atlanta. Please don't.
I can see
Please
it,
don't
bro.
do that. I know. I would hate. I convert,
I
but please don't.
just want people to get this out their head.
Yeah.
He is not being drafted by the New Orleans Saints. Can we
Oh
please
no.
stop that shit? Can we please stop it? The Saints ain't drafted a quarterback in the first round in over 50 years. 1971 was the last time they drafted a quarterback in the first round, Archie Manning.
Mm.
And they're not finna do it when they got that much money tied to their car. They're not finna draft quarterback in the first round. Just stop it. Would we love to see it? Yes. But is it gonna happen? No. But I think he's gonna end up in the division somewhere. Tampa, Carolina, or not Carolina, but Tampa or Atlanta. Somebody like that.
I would hate that so much, but I can see it happening. I hate it though. She made a good point. Danny said it cannot be the Saints. I don't want it to be the Saints because Louisiana fans turn on QBs quick, and I want him to stay for a forever legend. Silky
Ooh,
Johnson says JD gonna end up in New England. I don't
I
see
hope
that either.
not, bro.
That
Well,
would
I can see it. I can see it. I
yeah.
just don't want to see it. Just his demeanor and everything is kind of Bill Belichick like. You know what I mean? He ain't really flashy. He ain't. You know what I'm saying?
We ain't even got that, Chris, but I agree. Yeah, so Chicago looks like they'll have the number. I don't think he'll be number one pick, but
Hell, that ain't happening.
yeah, but I was gonna say I'm trying to think who. No, is it Chicago? What happened to number
Chicago
one?
got 2 picks.
Yeah, they got because they got it from Carolina. So yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Seahawks.
Yeah. Brian Champagne asked, he said, question, have y'all noticed that the defense line look like the condition is not there?
I think they played their best game yesterday that they've played all season. Man, we saw guys. Our guy Tank, Big Guillory had the best game I've seen him play all season.
Big facts. Big facts.
Shan,
shout out to Tank.
Yeah, Shan, big plays, batted ball down, had a big sack. Mason Smith was in the backfield. I mean, I just think overall that was their best game. Could they have played better? Yeah, but it's just interesting to me that they had their best game when Coach Lindsey was finally back around the team. I mean, just coincidence maybe. Having a coach there helps, but I think they'll be fine, especially if he's gonna be back with the team.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I guess we can wrap this up. Somebody LSU, and we'll talk more about it later on this week. They got 2 more games left, and now those games don't look nearly as challenging, especially that last one. But we'll get to that a little bit. One last question about JD. Because we have seen quarterbacks who haven't won who won the Heisman that were like 3-loss teams.
Last year.
Well, last year was a 2-loss team. So, no, I'm sorry. Last year was a 3-loss. Year before was a 2-loss. Well, no, was it a 2-loss? No, it was a 1-loss.
Well, I think last year was 2 losses, and then they lost the bowl game and made it 3 losses.
3 losses. Bama with Bryce Young, they was were they a 1-loss?
That was a 1 loss.
No, that 1 loss.
The 3 losses was RG3, Lamar Jackson, and
Tebow, and Caleb Williams was 2 losses. Then what you call it? Let me ask the question: with him not being in a conference championship game, Michael Penix will have that game. Right now, it looks like Michael Penix will have that game, conference championship game. JJ McCarthy, with him not being having that extra game, will that hurt him in the Heisman, or has he done enough to this point to where it's like, hey, if you don't see it, because I mean, all the commentators have said,
I don't think that's gonna matter, bro. At this point, it is what it is.
yeah. You know, some big country say it shouldn't matter. Numbers don't lie. And I agree, but
I don't
that's
think
true too. Yeah, I said Lamar and RG3, and if I'm not mistaken, Tebow didn't either. Not that year he won it. I don't think because they were a 3-loss team. I don't think they made it. I don't think Florida made it. Yeah, we can wrap that up there. 54.
so.
Right.
So before we not that. DK said you think JD plays the bowl game.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
And that's why I don't want Notre Dame in the bowl game. Because I don't see JD, Brian Thomas, or Malik Neighbors playing in the bowl game.
Oh yeah.
You're looking at potential 3 first-round picks. I don't see them playing.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't want to play. I don't want to play a team like that without our full strength. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, all right, let's move on. I ain't think about that, but let's move on here. Next up, man, we had Ole Miss took on Georgia. Number 9 Ole Miss took on Georgia. Georgia got the win, 52-17.
Wasn't much of a game. It was close for about a half a quarter.
Yeah. My dad, because I missed it because I was on the road, but apparently Bowers was back.
Yep. I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't think he'll be back until the championship game, honestly. At the
I didn't think he would be back at all.
Yeah, that's true too.
I didn't think that he would be. There would be, I thought he'd be looking towards the NFL, but he came back. He wasn't his normal self, obviously, but I think he only had a couple catches. But
that the catch, I can't think of who the kid was for Ole Miss. When you have an impressive catch like that, but it's a blowout, doesn't matter. I mean, right. It's a nice catch to have, highlight, but does it take away from the catch?
Nah, I mean, that was a great play, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't.
Because I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, what a catch. And then I saw the score. I was like, really? Really?
Yeah, it don't really matter.
Don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Just get it out of here. Get out of here. That. What's up, Tyler? But Danny says Georgia's in-game adjustments are next level.
Yeah, that defense, man.
I wish we could make I just wish we had halftime adjustments, at least on a defensive side.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Next up, man, number 8. I talked about this one a little bit. Number 8, Bama took on Kentucky. Bama got the win, 49-21. Jalen Milroe is he is Jalen Milroe looks now what I thought he would look like next year. He's coming to it. Definitely he's coming to it, and that's a huge shout out to whoever's coaching the QBs and getting them ready. I don't know if it's Tommy Reese, man. Is it Tommy Reese? I give him a huge shout out for that.
Well, I think part of it is they use him differently than they was using him earlier in the season. If you noticed, since he started to run the ball, he's become more successful. They become more successful.
That's true.
They
He
kind of
only had 26 rushes last night, though, right?
yeah. He didn't rush much last night, but he didn't have to though.
26 yards rushing.
Yeah,
Rather,
he didn't
not
have
26 rushes.
yeah he didn't have to rush much last night. But I'm just saying, since they've opened up the offense and let him use his legs, he's become a better quarterback. You know what I mean? I think it's opened up other things for him because the defense has to prepare for his legs and his ability to run. But I'm telling you, bro, Bama ain't dead, bro. I see them making a college football playoff potentially.
Yeah, potentially. That Bama Georgia
Talked
game.
about this last night though. On this place. I see a world where the SEC gets left out of the playoff.
Wow.
Let's say you have undefeated Florida State,
Okay.
undefeated Michigan,
Okay.
undefeated Oregon,
Washington.
Washington. My bad. Yeah, Washington won first. Undefeated Washington, and then Bama beats Georgia. So you got one loss SEC conference champion, but Texas wins the Big 12 with only one loss. Texas beat Bama head to head. Do you leave
Oh,
Texas out?
I see what you're doing there. Okay.
Do you
Okay.
leave Texas out with a head to head win over Bama?
I see what you're doing now. That's gonna be wow. Have we seen that before?
I don't know. I don't think we've seen
Ohio State. The year Ohio State won, they didn't win the conference.
Yeah, but they didn't have they didn't win the conference, but I don't even think they won their division that year.
No, they didn't even make it to the conference championship. Somebody else
Yeah.
played in the conference championship, but Ohio
But
they put them
but
in.
they got in and them. They got in and them. But see, I think it's different this year because you got the team, you got the head to head,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I don't think we've never really seen teams who with a head to head matchup be battling for those top spots, except for like conference opponents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you got two conference champions, both with one loss, and one has a head to head win over the other one, how do you keep that team out?
That'll be what. Imagine a one loss SEC team doesn't make it.
Exactly. One loss SEC champion at that.
Yeah. Wow. That's what I meant. But yeah, wow. I ain't think about that. That's a good scenario.
Yeah.
I
feel like if you don't put Texas in that scenario, then you're basically saying that the in season games don't matter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I could play devil's advocate. I could argue the other way too. I could argue that they would put Bama in over Texas because Bama's win over Georgia would be better than any win Texas would have.
Yeah. I would love that.
I can see the argument for Bama getting in over Texas, but at the same time, I don't see how you can do that with the head-to-head win. It's gonna be interesting to see how it shake out for sure.
You know what my motto is in this scenario? Give me chaos. I want all the smoke. I want all the chaos. Let it happen. I want to see how they work with this. They'll you know what they'll do? They'll justify it by doing something like getting rid of leaving Michigan out, be like, Michigan, yada yada yada. But anyway, Michigan, we with the compromise of the integrity of the game, we couldn't put them in, something like that. That's how they'll probably do that. But that would be wild. So, hey, I want to Chris Lee. Are you still watching the show? I hope you're still watching the show. Number 13, Tennessee got smoked by number 14, Mizzou, 36-7. Mizzou is a really good team this year. The two losses to the best offense in the SEC or in the country. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. And the number one team in the country, in which the number one team, they actually had a really good chance. Really good chance. that was part of the chaos I wanted to see. Mizzou get that win over Georgia, but they still rolling. Somebody asked earlier, do we think that LSU gets into a New Year's Six? No, I think it's going to be Mizzou, or depending, I think it'd be Mizzou or you say Ole Miss. I don't think it'd be Ole Miss. I don't think it'll be Ole Miss. Just simply because like Ole Miss just lost, Mizzou is going to keep climbing. I don't see Mizzou having another loss with the what I'm saying on the season because I think they got Arkansas left and they got a couple.
Ole Miss having another loss neither,
but you got. I'm saying, but look at when they lost.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it depends on where they finish out right now, as far as like what they they're ranked this week. But with Ole Miss having that loss, I think they're gonna drop them.
The AP got Mizzou at 11, Ole Miss at 13.
So I think college football will probably have something similar. So Mizzou will be a high rank, depending on the whole Bama Georgia thing. If Bama loses again, how do you move Mizzou up and then Mizzou end up with a New Year's Six?
No, that's a lot of jumping for them to jump Bama.
Yeah. So I need the Iron Bowl. I need the Iron Bowl to be wild. So
I don't need to be too wild because you still need Bama to beat Georgia and both of them to have one loss.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm sorry, Georgia's schedule not good enough for them to get in as a one-loss non-conference.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
So it's gonna be interesting.
Brian says, remember Oklahoma State winning the conference and didn't get in, but one loss. When was that?
2011. That's what.
Oh, that was different though. That was on the BCS.
Yeah.
It was a whole lot different, which is why they kind of went away from being, start the whole conversation about CFP because they were saying they needed the human element in there. So and having more teams anyway. Vandy, South Carolina. South Carolina got the win 47-6. No shocker there. I don't even think there's anything to talk about though.
Nope.
Clark Lee. You might want to Google the corporate number for U-Haul. You might be next to need their services. Next up, man, we got Auburn. Went down to Arkansas. We got the win 48-10. I felt this one coming. It's also been reported. I hadn't seen anything official yet. But announcement that Sam Pittman will be let go is coming soon.
They renounced that statement.
They renounced it.
Talking about the that podcast.
Was it a podcast that posted? I thought it was somewhere else. I don't remember. I remember seeing it, but
yeah, somebody who posted it came out and said that they reported it a little too early instead of making sure the story was right or whatever. So I'm assuming that they're kind of backtracking a little bit on that story, but I still think it's gonna be pretty soon before he gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam Pittman. Oh man. Dan said, you all gonna be making a killing off the SEC. Jimbo, Pittman, Lee, House, and possibly more. Danny, I just want to let you know there's this conference called the SWAC. They ain't far behind. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Oh yeah. Listen, yeah. It might be 2 in a game in one game at the end of the season.
Somebody got to win that though.
But they might get.
They might win that. Whoever win, they keeping their job.
They might tell both of them to give them a call. Matter of fact,
I think it's only 3 coaches in the SWAC who gonna get fired or might get fired.
They might tell them one of y'all get U-Haul, the other one get 2 men in the truck. That's what's
It's only 3 coaches on the hot seat in the SWAC.
So we gonna see, man.
It's already been one coach fired in the SEC, and it's 2
that's true.
hot seat.
That's true. Speaking of that, Jimbo, come on down to the Sit Your Ass Down Club.
And ironically, they won.
Ironically, Mississippi State got the win. I mean, Mississippi State played Texas A&M. Texas A&M got the win. 51-10. But Jimbo, come on down to the Sit Your Ass Down Club.
With a 4th string quarterback, 3rd string quarterback, something like that.
Did you hear the story about?
I saw the video.
The video, they had somebody impersonating Max Johnson.
Well, was it though? Because like the quarterback they ended up starting was a left-handed quarterback. So was it just him the whole time and nobody knew he was going to be starting? Now the number 14 thing was kind of weird, but
yeah. I hope they pull some goop. Well, they ain't gonna do that now.
It don't matter now. Jimbo gone. But
yeah.
I'm kind of mad though. I'm kind of upset.
I want to play Jimbo one more time. I wanted
Jimbo to be there for forever.
Yeah.
Because if Texas A&M gets a competent coach in there with the resources that they got, they could be a problem.
Brian says, "Do y'all see deflections?" I think he means talking about decommits from Texas A&M recruiting.
I think a few gonna come. Give it a few days, but all I'm saying is, Texas. We was better off with Jimbo at Texas A&M because he was gonna find a way to screw it up. With some of these guys, they bringing the names they throwing out there. I do not want to see it, bro.
Danny says there are some scary names being put out there: Lanning, Elko, etc. I saw one that was actually Blake put one out there, Leopold from Kansas.
I don't see him leaving Kansas.
So
I don't see him leaving Kansas just because there's 0 expectations at Kansas. That's like old boy Stoops at Kentucky. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't believe that I've been telling folks we talked about this last week. What is the difference between Jimbo and Kevin Sumlin? The only thing that Jimbo did that Kevin Sumlin didn't was beat LSU.
Get a number 1 recruiting class.
Oh, I'm sorry. He got a number 1 recruiting class and did nothing with it. If it's easy, you know what? To quote Don Staley, I wonder what it would look like they had gave Kevin Sumlin this kind of support.
I don't see them hiring Jeff Traylor from UTSA. They're gonna get a little more established.
Yeah, but Kevin Sumlin with
that's funny.
That's great. I mean, come on. Paul said, "Watch it be James Franklin." Speaking of, he might need to be, have 2 men. He don't need to deserve U-Haul. He might need to have 2 men in the truck on speed dial.
They already got a U-Haul going up there. They fired their offense coordinator.
Yeah, they need to. There's no reason. His record again. He probably had a better record versus top 25 teams at Vanderbilt than he does at Penn State. I don't know. I'm just making that up, but he's been terrible against AP top 25 teams in his tenure at Penn State.
Yeah, they fired Mike Yurich, the offensive coordinator. So they got him as being the scapegoat, but the offense is terrible. The offense is terrible. A JV offense. But
and Michigan was without Harbaugh yesterday, which I've been telling you about the stories, the battles I've been having at work with one of my coworkers who was a Michigan fan, and he be trying to tell me like legally this stuff isn't going to happen. There's no evidence, and I was telling him that the NCAA don't care about evidence. don't care about input.
NCAA
They don't care about the legality.
The NCAA ain't suspend them though.
Yeah, I know. I told him what was going to happen. I said it's going to take years for the NCAA to do anything. But what they're going to do is they're going to lean. They're going to lean on the conference. The conference is probably going to lean on the school, but the conference made a move. But they're going to lean, and no one, because his argument was Michigan is you don't want to piss off one of your top schools. What is it? He said like top 5 schools in your top five.
They keep saying Michigan don't need the Big Ten. The Big Ten needs Michigan. Newsflash: the Big Ten just got Oregon, USC, UCLA, and all these other schools. Your name don't hold the same weight as it did 3 years ago for the Big Ten.
Yeah. So hold on, I want to because it's funny we talked about this. So Rick says, don't be surprised if Tulane coach Willie Fritz will be named as a possible coaching, as possible coaching vacancies. So inside scoop on that. Willie Fritz ain't going nowhere. This is strictly, directly from his mouth. Coach Willie Fritz got a contract extension this summer for 7 years. He is 60. His words were, I am 63 years old. I've done the rebuild thing. I don't have that energy to do that anymore. I'm staying put. So, and I'll leave it at that. Coach Willie Fritz says he's going to do them 7 years at Tulane, and he's going to retire. So, I don't see him leaving. And honestly, if you look at it, with the Tulane thing, with Coach Fritz and Tulane, you're not going to a 12-team playoff. If you're the best group of 5 team or group of 6 or whatever it is when they, all this realignment is said and done, that's pretty much an auto bid.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be able to make it to the playoffs possibly every year. There's no reason for you to leave Tulane to go anywhere else when you got, honestly, Tulane has resources. They got old money.
Yeah, but how much he making now?
I forget what it is, but it's pretty good. But some, I'm be honest with you, money don't motivate some people like that. And I get what you're saying.
That's true, but I'm saying if somebody talking about doubling your salary, it's gonna be hard to turn that down.
Yeah. But when you got free reign like that, though,
I feel you, but he making 1.7 million, 2 million, something like that.
You don't think he'll get it? You don't think that?
If somebody come to him saying, I'll pay you $5 million, you gonna turn that down?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, bro.
I wouldn't.
I feel like
I'm taking the job.
I feel like
$5 million.
It's easy. It's easy for people to say I ain't going nowhere when ain't nothing on the table.
But you got to think about that. The whole Georgia Tech was on the table and they were going to offer more.
Yeah, but that's Georgia Tech. That's Georgia Tech.
Let me ask you this: what school? If you got
what if Arkansas came calling and said we'll give you $6 million next year to coach us?
Would you want a coach who's telling you I'm only giving you 7, if that?
I mean, Arkansas that's Sam Pittman. Hell, he ain't finna be there forever.
I'm just saying. I get it. It's a good argument.
I feel where you come from. You don't want them necessarily to leave. So you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm just being realistic.
If y'all do what y'all want after 4 years, I'm put it like that. I'll leave it at that.
If somebody came and offered to double that man's salary, because I don't know what Georgia Tech coach making. Let me see.
Yeah. So let me ask this, and I get what you. Okay, so 1.72.
And see, Georgia Tech coach 2.8. That ain't enough of a raise.
What would you? So, okay, and you say the double. Let me ask this, and this is no disrespect. Willie Fritz has had so much success everywhere he's been. He's actually up there with I think he's number 4 of active coaches. Probably number 3 now in that gym. Well, no, he's because he's been coaching longer than Jimbo. I think he's number 4, number 3 or number 4 active coaches with wins. But let me ask this: does he have enough of a resume to say I'm gonna double your salary?
I mean, it ain't necessarily about his resume. It's about what those schools pay their coaches. It's about the going rate of an SEC head coach. Like Sam Pittman don't make as much because his coordinators make the money, but Sam Pittman make $4.5 million. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, actually, it makes $6.3 million. So I'm just saying, some of that is just based off the territory of the nature of the people hiring you.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't necessarily saying we're gonna pay you that because you're Willie Fritz. It's just that's how much we pay our coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable. I can understand that.
Danny said Gus Malzahn, Arkansas, they do not have high expectations. If I'm Gus Malzahn, I'm staying my ass right where I'm at.
Yeah, because he's already in a whatchamacallit now too. He's
in a
already
power conference.
Power 5 conference,
Yep.
yeah, or Power 4, whenever it is.
Whatever you want to call it. And you in one of the easier ones. So I mean,
Rick Kelly said WVUE reported that he made 2.79 mil last year. Who? He talking about Fritz? Or who he talking about?
maybe with bonuses from the bowl game and all that kind of stuff, I can see it.
Yeah. And I promise that money is going to good use. I promise you that. Next up, Miami and Florida State. Number 4, Florida State. Florida State got the win 27-20. It's a rivalry. So what? Oh, he said Fritz got 2.79. Okay.
That was a great game.
Yeah. Danny said hot take, did Petrino take the OC with a backdoor understanding?
If that was the case, wouldn't he be the interim head coach?
Yeah. So they ain't gonna coach O that thing.
I wish they would.
Joe Oliva ain't over there. Rivalry game, close, too close. Florida State, did they get too cute?
Nah, in this game? I just think it was a rivalry game. Miami came to play. Miami was trying to ruin somebody's season.
Yeah, because I was thinking it was just all this stuff like the onside kick coming out of half, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid. I give you that. But I mean, even just the way the game played out, it was just.
I wish that would make that happen. I wish that would. Danny said that she saw a Twitter post with Coach O in Texas A&M gear. It was hilarious. Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen, Texas A&M.
Well, I think that Miami game was just Miami played inspired, bro. They had a new quarterback in. They made Florida State work for it. I mean, Jordan Travis had a decent game, but he didn't have a great game.
That was another name I was hearing was better than Jayden this year and all this kind of stuff. So.
Nah, stop it. Keon Coleman didn't have a crazy game like he normally does for them neither. I mean, it just was one of those games where two opponents very familiar with each other, and they life hard. Florida, you gotta give Florida State credit though, because at one point they was down in this game, and found a way to come back. And the game was never really in doubt in the second half for Florida State.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of struggles, number 18 Utah took on number 5 Washington. Washington got the win 35-28.
They made them work for it.
Utah was actually up in this game a few times, if I'm not mistaken.
If
But
they had Cam Rising, I think they win this game.
yeah,
I'm not sold on Washington. I think Oregon beats them.
I'm not sold on Washington. I'm if and I'll bring this up because do I have them on here? Yeah, let's talk about this next game. I mean this game here. I'm move this one. I think if Arizona plays them again, Arizona would beat them. Arizona's hit a groove and got to a nice little spot. Speaking of, Arizona took on Colorado yesterday and pretty much removed any bowl game thoughts from Colorado. For the most part, it's Colorado still has a chance. They got to win out. But yep, I think this is pretty much a wrap. Colorado is 4-6 now and has Washington State and Utah left. I think they can get by Washington State. I don't possibly get by Washington State. I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sold on that one. But I don't see them beating Utah. But at this point, Colorado is in a 4-game losing streak.
Yep.
And it could have been worse. They escaped by Arizona State with a 27-24 win. So they could be losing at a 7-game losing streak. But like I said,
Hey, you remember whenever they had the hypothetical, what would the line be between 2023 Colorado and 2019 LSU?
yeah, LSU by minus 57.5. And I would take it.
I mean, to Danny's point, Colorado is quadrupled their win total from last season so far.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the hype and the attention they were getting early on this season, you would thought they were a national championship contender. And they don't even look like bowl contenders. So
I was getting trolled a lot beginning of the season by one of my coworkers. I called him last night and said, "Hey man, what bowl game Colorado gonna be in this year?" He started laughing. So
I had them 4-8 before the season. And I'm probably a game off. They probably win 5 games. But I just felt like people who were saying 10-2 and all that kind of stuff, like
Chris Lee, where you at?
Overreacting to the TCU game.
Maybe I should. I'm sorry. I said Chris Lee. Chris Brownlee.
No, you said that man whole government.
I did. I didn't call him Christopher. Honey Bun. My man Chris. But nah, I know why Chris believed in Colorado. I will say this. I can be hard on them, but I can also look at this and say this. I think they have a lot to build on. They have a lot to build on. A lot of talent that's most likely returning. If they build them trenches, Colorado will be dangerous.
Big if, but
big if.
I'm with you.
Did they replace the offense coordinator?
Yeah, they
I didn't understand that move. Offense wasn't necessarily the issue. Unless you want to say, hey, stop throwing the ball so much, call some more run plays. But I don't think throwing the ball that much is necessarily because the offensive coordinator just said, hey, I think we should throw the ball more. I think the offensive coordinator wants to probably mix it up because of what I've seen him do in the past. He likes to throw the ball, but I'm pretty sure he's competent enough to know that we should probably mix in some runs just to keep keep the defenses honest.
Yep, they got Pat Shurmur calling their plays now. Man.
He said Ray Shrimmer. Ray Shrimmer. Oh, I thought you said race shrimp because it looked like the O-line be doing the mannequin challenge. It should do it just they just be getting, that girl is a real crowd pleaser. They just be standing there. Should do it be running for his life. It's Dion's fault though. I will say, USC took on number 6 Oregon yesterday. Oregon got the win 36-27. They just couldn't get that extra point, but here we go. My question is, did USC defense get better? Because Oregon, we've seen Oregon score a lot more points. So did letting go of Grinch help?
Nope. They still suck.
Yeah,
They
do.
I don't think it matters until you get better players on defense.
Yeah. All right. Next up, man, we got Texas. Number 7 Texas took on TCU. Texas got the win 29-26. Who Texas got left?
Texas Tech, I think.
And then the championship, right?
Yeah, let me see. They got
hold on, I'm pulling it up. As we speak.
Texas Tech.
It's Iowa State and Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever they were playing the championship. I'm trying to see who is Oklahoma State right now. Yeah. Unless Oklahoma State fumble another one.
The ass beat yesterday.
That they did. And Rick said somebody. Speaking of, that's next. Oklahoma State got the, got the breaks beat off of them by UCF. Shout out to Gus Malzahn for his trouncing of
John Rice Plumlee.
He has had a wild career. He looked like the next best thing in quarterback to, being hey, great dual sport athlete to, hey, he had to transfer just to even touch the field. Lane came in and it was like, let him go. Which is funny because I felt like he would have been a great quarterback for Lane.
Yeah.
And Lane's just like, nah, I'm good. Paul's Hub said Iowa State next week is a major trap game.
I think so too. That's one you gotta look out for, especially looking forward to Texas Tech, who everybody said was gonna be the team that beats Texas this year. So I feel like they got the Texas Tech game circled, but they could be overlooking that Iowa State game.
Yeah. Speaking of, Texas Tech took on Kansas and got the win, scored a big win, beating Kansas 16-13. Number 16 Kansas. I said that. Number 16 Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Kansas.
Say what?
I don't know what's up with Kansas. I ain't really been able to get a gauge on them this season.
I don't know if I can blame injuries or not, but it seems like that's the biggest issue they've had the last 2 years. They've been good. They've been coached well. It's just been injuries and they haven't been able to overcome.
Yeah.
So, next up, I got this one on here for a couple reasons. Tulsa took on number 23 Tulane. Tulane got the win 24-22. They've been playing with their food a little too much, but Tulane is good. Like their defense is solid, and I forget who said it earlier. said that if LSU had their defense, they'd probably be undefeated. Um, Tulane's secondary is phenomenal. But Tulsa quarterback was picking them apart. I say picking them apart. He was throwing some dimes, but the secondary was there making some great plays. It was some real good throws. Michael Pratt looked good. They running back got a freshman running back in there that just like surprised me. But they set up for a real big game next week. They take on Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic is 8-1, if I'm not mistaken. So that's gonna be a huge game, and it's in Boca Raton. Oh man, I want to try and do that. Let me see where we at. CMC. What was I reading? Because I was actually reading something completely wrong. Florida Atlantic that's not the matchup. Florida Atlantic is 4-6, 3-3 in the conference. So I don't know what I was reading. What game I was looking at. Was it the UTSA game I was thinking about?
Yeah, it ain't that good this year.
They 6-0 in the conference and 7-3 overall.
I just know that wasn't 8-1, 9-1, or whatever you said.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I said that was gonna be the best G5 team this year, and then they dropped like a couple games early.
yeah. But yeah, so Tulane got a big chance, big opportunity. They get the win on next Saturday, and then they'll play UTSA, and that's going to be is that a Friday game? I think that's the they play them on Black Friday at 2:30 on ABC. So yeah, that's gonna be big, but big opportunity. Next up, man, we got Duke in North Carolina, number 24 North Carolina. North Carolina got the win 47-45 in double overtime.
Drake May, man.
I'm gonna ask this. I already know your answer, but I'm gonna ask this just to have it on record. Did the NCAA overreact with the overtime rules?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cause they did it for the LSU Texas
Yeah.
game. That happened. That's happened like twice. Those type of games don't happen that often for you to change the rules of overtime like that. So yeah, I agree. I think they did, and it makes it less exciting. Like the game yesterday, shouldn't come down to a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, I hate saying something like that. My rule or my thought what it should be if they want to really change it up, I think they should start the first overtime at the 15, and each overtime they go out 5 yards, go back 5 yards. So, or even if you start at the 25 like they do now, just go back gradually 5 yards. So, I think that would be a lot better. Rick Kelly says, talking about TCU, Jack Bech only has 10 receptions this year. Should he have gone to Tulane instead?
It's hard.
Should he have just sat his ass down, stay where he was at?
He wasn't gonna play at LSU either, but
I'm just saying. I don't know. Any other notable college football games? Because everything I went over was pretty much like just ranked games.
No, I can't think of none right now.
Yeah, I can't. I'm looking through. Since we do got Danny, I do want to point out to Danny. I believe Air Force has dropped 2 in a row. They lost bad yesterday. to Hawaii of all teams. Yeah, they lost to Hawaii 27-13. Yeah, so she said Duke need to cancel Echo's phone playing an office number if they want to keep him. So basically, she's saying they need to trap that man. Listen, they will find a way. They'll send that man a pigeon. Like if they want to get him, somebody want to get him. But yeah. Air Force lost. I'm trying to see who else. Was a good game. Somebody mentioned James Madison earlier. James Madison won 44-6 over UConn, but James Madison, I think she mentioned this too. They're trying to appeal. They may have a case to possibly be able to be bowl eligible this year.
They should be.
They completely agree. Navy beat UAB 31-6. Remind me to tell you about that when we get off this show, because it's something very interesting happened with UAB too. Oh, Louisville did have a close one with
with Virginia on Thursday night.
Virginia on Thursday, yeah. They end up getting the win. Southern Miss with a big upset on ULL in overtime, I think. So, no, I'll be keeping up with some of the teams. I know. I just be keeping up with some belt teams and stuff, man. Just be looking. Some of this stuff like be popping up. But yeah, remind me to tell you about UAB. When I passed by there on the way back home, they were out there practicing too. UAB. Damn. Yeah, tonight. Yeah, it was. Yeah, remind me to tell you about that. So, trying to think who else. Cal beat Washington State. Northwestern beat Wisconsin 24-10.
Yeah, I know that cost me money.
Yeah. Iowa has not given up a touchdown in like 10 quarters or something crazy like that. An offensive touchdown. They beat Rutgers. They beat Rutgers 22-0 yesterday. I'm going to tell you who they've played. Northwestern, Minnesota, Wisconsin. So, yeah.
Pretty impressive. Not really. Hey, shout out Nebraska though, man.
Yeah. Dan said, did you know that Air Force had the number 2 defense in the nation, only second to Penn State for the first half of the season? Not sure where it went though. I had a really bad joke. I'm not going to say it on air. But yeah. So Craig, I saw that. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow. We kind of briefly mentioned it, but we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Craig talking about said we took care of it and talking about Texas Southern.
That yeah, they did.
They did.
Nebraska quietly about to be bowl eligible.
Yeah, who they let me pull them up. Nebraska beat
They lost to Maryland, but
they lost to Maryland. I thought they
but they
they got Wisconsin and Iowa. Ooh, next. Yikes.
Wisconsin ain't all that good though.
They're not. I thought they'll be a lot better. Fickle has really disappointed me. So yeah. Let's talk about the NFL, because this is, speaking of disappointment. Saints.
I saw it coming. I told my wife in the first quarter we about to lose this game. I just had that when Josh Dobbs was running all around in the first quarter the way he was. I just had a feeling that we was about to lose that game. And then sure enough, TJ Hawkinson go crazy in the first half and had over 100 yards in the first half. They couldn't stop him. They go down 24-3 or whatever it was.
Why did
And
when
I
you say
knew it.
TJ Hawkinson, I was thinking about the referee. What's that referee name?
Oh, Ed Hockley.
Okay, all right.
But
I don't know. I was like, oh, you say he went crazy. I was like, dang, he throwing people out the game.
Hockenson went killed us in the first half. Had like 100 and some yards. Then I just knew it was that type of game, man. It's that type of game. But shout out to James Winston though. He at least kept us in the game, made it interesting. But you got the entire roller coaster ride of James. You remember the Mikey Vick experiment, the experiment that they used to do, the little commercial?
Yeah.
Well, we had the James Winston one today because you got the entire experience of James Winston. You got the highs and you got the lows. That dude took you through the whole ride, but it just wasn't enough.
Well, ain't no Connor. I'm watching now. Ain't no Connor in the Raiders. He's got that number 4 jersey on. He looks just like, even like with his helmet on, he looks like Derek Carr. With the struggle mustache and everything. He looks like Derek Carr, and yeah, it's just awful. Shout out to, and I hate to say it. Shout out to Houston, Texas, man. D'Amico Ryans, CJ Stroud, you know what I'm saying? Tank Dell. They were even without Nico Collins today and put on a show. They played really well. They got the win. And I forgot the whole CJ Stroud being back in Ohio thing until I saw the highlight when he did the Ohio, the OH rather. But Texans may have the best rookie class in all I would say all of college football, in all of NFL.
This year, I don't think it's close.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of a rookie class any teams has had in a long time this good. Name one.
That last year, the Jets, they had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. 2017, the Saints had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
That's just 2 players. I'm talking about like top to bottom. Like,
I mean, how many players in their rookie class are that great?
Tank Dell, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson.
That's 3.
I'm trying to think who else. Ain't Nico? Ain't he a
Nope.
rookie too? Oh, well, no mind then. You might be right.
I mean, that's like the Saints rookie class. It was Kamara, it was Lattimore, but they also had Trey Hendrickson. They also had Marcus Williams. They also had Alexander.
Okay, you got a case though.
And
Look, you ain't got to rub it in. I said you was right. You got to rub it in. I was just saying. Let me exaggerate for a little bit.
I will say this is a little different
Yeah.
considering they got.
Oh, can I say Ricky head coach too? I throw that in there.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so
But I think it's a little different because they got, while Kamara and Lattimore have been great, I don't think either one of them is like franchise quarterback important. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that they got a quarterback makes theirs a little bit different. But
right. So I put on here college basketball. Because this was gonna tie into men's and women's college basketball. People overreact to the LSU loss,
no,
women's loss.
no, that was terrible. They played like shit. And as you see, they've changed the roster up some since then.
I haven't been able to catch the last 2 games.
That lineup has changed since then. Nisa Morrow's been coming off the bench, so they switched some things up. But and today, they had last year poll start because Flage wasn't playing today, so they switched the lineup up, which I felt like they was gonna have to do because you can't play Angel Reese and Nisa Morrow together with no true center because Angel Reese is in the center. And she had trouble in that first game with Vonleh from Colorado tearing her up inside. So they put some more sides out the other day with Samaya Smith as a starter. So kind of let Angel Reese go back to her true position as the 4. and we've kind of seen her go back to her normal ways. But shout out to Samaya, she been balling lately. Made a huge jump from last year to this
Yeah.
year.
Let me the men. I did see a little bit of that game on Friday night. We in for another long season.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think it would change if you had Jalen Cook playing. Just what his experience, his scoring, his kind of his ability to kind of slow the game down and make sure you get good shots and you run your offense, things of that nature. Not having him, I think, is going to be a big loss for this season. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as last year. But I do think it's going to be a pretty long season.
Trying to think. UConn women, they lost today too. They had an upset loss.
Yep.
I did see that.
I keep trying to tell y'all, South Carolina ain't going nowhere.
North Carolina State beat them 92-81. Whew.
South
Carolina beat Maryland 114-76.
They've dropped 100 points on 2 ranked teams so far this year. South Carolina.
Yikes.
They're not going nowhere, bro.
No, they're not.
I will say that we talking about newcomers and stuff. Like this is the best freshman class women's college basketball maybe has ever seen ever. From Michaela to Juju to my girl Hidalgo at Notre Dame to Lele in South Carolina, like they've been balling. The freshman girls have been balling. So that I think that's if you do want something to kind of look forward to for women's basketball, it's the youngsters who gonna be around for a while have came in looking like vets already.
Okay. All right, man. It's time to wrap it up. Got anything else before we get up out of here? I got one. I do. I know. I always ask you. And I know we hadn't done an altar call in a while. I ain't gonna necessarily make this altar call. Clay Travis, you are trash. You are absolute trash, scum, turd water.
He's a hypocrite.
A huge hypocrite with the whole I put him and Bet Online. I've talked with him. We put $1 million that a WNBA team against a high school boys team, and then people in the comments, yeah, I got the boys team minus 30. So
all I'm saying is for somebody who claims to care so much about women's sports that you want to hashtag save women's sports from transgender athletes and stuff like that, you sure do try to shit on women's sports every chance you get when it comes to women's leagues like the WNBA. So how much do you care about women's sports if the most prominent women's sports league in the United States, you just shit on them every chance you get? How does that, like, how do you care about women's sports and in the same breath shit on the WNBA? It don't make any sense.
Just terrible, man. Just anyway, man. We got anything else before we get up out of here? Because I'm sure there's something else. I just know I had to say something about that. Because that was it was freaking stupid, hypocrisy. Man. Yeah. I do want to say this. With the change in the rules for college football being, that they don't stop the clocks for first downs and stuff in the first, I think outside the last 2 minutes of each half and stuff like that. That basically made way for more room for commercials.
Mm-hmm.
It is as a fan being in the stands, every time there's a a breaking play, there's a 3-minute commercial. That is terrible. I mean, that's like awful, bro. That doesn't speed up the game. As a fan, it is hard to sit there like every time. It's like, oh my god, why we gotta wait another 3 minutes? And you see it because they have I'm gonna call him a time referee guy, he has a red vest on, comes out, puts a little stick in the ground, and usually, and it'll show how much time is left between, or he'll come out there and he'll wave his arm and say, "Hey, we're gonna play through this break," or whatever. But that is you literally have sold out I'm not gonna say the integrity, but you sold out the game for more ad revenue.
So what it's all about?
Just stupid. Anyway, we got anything else, man? I know I said we want to do no what's called. We did 2 dang on altar call just about.
No, that's all I got, bro.
All right, man. We'll be back later on this week. We gotta figure out how we're gonna do Thanksgiving week. We may not do shows. We gotta do a show for the figure out something to do for Texas. We may have to do a space or something for the Texas A&M game. Because I definitely want to trash them. Talk about them. And that all that they have going on.
Such a beautiful subject over there.
All right. We at
This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!